Alright, this is just a quick how-to change the front pads on a, this is a 2011 Subaru Forester. I don't know, it's my girlfriend's car. I think it's the same from like 09 to 12 or 13, I don't know. I mean, if it looks like this is for you. I'm not going to film taking the wheel off. If you don't know how to take a wheel off, you know, you're probably not doing your own brakes, so be right back. Alright, car jacked up in the air. Don't be dumb, use a jack stand. Alright, so here we are. You have to first take out the two bolts holding the caliper on. Here, there's going to be one down here, and they're both going to be 14 mil here. When you do take this off, I mean, I know there's hundreds, probably thousands of videos on this. Don't let the caliper hang. You don't want to mess up your brake line here. So, I mean, I just have a stupid little hook. You can use zip ties, whatever. Just hang it from your spring up here. So, let me get that off, and I'll be back. Okay, so here we are. Sorry, sun kind of sucks, but there you go. Caliper hung. All right. So now just pop out. These should just pull out. So it's one pad. Pull the back pad out. Take these clips here. There's one here and one here. Pull these out because we got new ones. Okay. Just the old ones. These pads, there's still a lot of meat on them. I know. I'm sure somebody will say something about that. They were, I don't know, some kind of shitty pads that were on here when she got the car, and they squeak really bad. So just got some factory ones. All right, so we'll take those off. This is all the new stuff. It's in the shade. There you go. New pads. You know, Subaru factory pads. Yeah, so it comes with these backing plates, new clips here to hold it in, and then this grease. So the black grease, you have to, let me show you. I'll do this off camera, but so you have the pad, you put this rubber coated backing plate just like that. Okay, then this black grease that came with it, you put 3 dabs, middle, 2 sides here, and that's it for that. And then as far as the copper here, when these clips go in, I mean, these will go, you know, back up in here like this. The copper, it goes inside of here, so when the pad, let's see if I can get this, it's kind of hard with one hand, but so when the pad rubs in there, it won't squeal. So, all right, let me get all this together and show you how it goes. Okay, so off camera, put grease, boom, boom, and the last one. So then just take these backing plates. They have clips. Pretty straightforward how to put those on. Sit on the back there. Just get all 4 of them. There. Just like that. So what you end up with is a little sandwich. So you got your pad, then that rubber coated backing plate, then your grease, and then this backing plate here. So, all right, back over here. So now you have all of your clips. Okay, they are different, so just don't get them mixed up. This has bigger tab. This doesn't. See, next to each other. See how this has this. So, one other thing with this, well, we'll get to it, but yeah, we'll get to that later. So now I just gotta remember, because I fucked up, if the tab, the bigger one, goes on the top or the bottom. Guess I could look at the other side. Yeah, let me look at the other side, and I will be right back. The one with the bigger tab is gonna just follow this groove here. Okay, it's gonna slide in just like that. Push it all the way down until it's seated flat. All right, now you take this one, the one without that long tab like this, and it's gonna go on the top. Same thing, slide it in, push it all the way up till it's seated flat, just like that. Okay, now what we have to do, I mean, you have all your pads. We can put the pads on, but you're not going to be able to slide the caliper over, because as your brakes wear down, it squeezes tighter and tighter. So we're going to have to push these back in so that we can slide the caliper over the pads and the rotor and everything else. So yeah, let me get the pads on and I'll show you how I push these back in. Alright, so the pads are in. Don't forget to put your copper grease there, down there, and then the back side too. I forgot to mention also, it does matter which way these pads go. So like I said before, the clip, the longer clip, this here, goes down, okay? But then the pad, if you look at it, has this tab. What that's for is when your pads get low, that's what'll squeal before you actually hit metal on metal. So you just have to make sure when you put them in, this tab right here, it just sits just like that on there. Okay, and then that's in. So now we just have to back out the piston inside the caliper, and to do that, a couple different ways. Well, one main way, but either way you have to push in the pistons. This is a dual piston caliper. Okay, so what you have to do is, some people break the bleeder valve, some people don't, but regardless of however you do it, just make sure before you do any of this that your brake fluid is topped off. You just don't, you want to try to limit as much air in the brake lines as possible, limit as much as you can. So I'm not gonna break the bleeder valve just because right now I'm by myself doing this, but I do have this vacuum brake bleeder, cheap little, I think I got it at Harbor Freight, I don't know, I got it a long time ago. All this does, you hook the hose onto the bleeder valve, and then when you do that, I might have to actually get a smaller hose, but you pump it up and it pulls vacuum. Yeah, there's air getting in. It should hold. I'll just have to get a smaller hose. Yeah, and then you break the you loosen up the bleeder valve, which is a 10 millimeter, and it'll pull your fluid into the reservoir here. So I can't hold the camera and do all this at the same time, so I'm just gonna do it real quick. The way I do it though is just use a C-clamp, and just, it's kind of hard with one hand here. There you go. So the way I do it is put the C-clamp just like this, or I mean you can go, if you go on the edge, the clamp's going to catch the edge, but really once you push the piston in flush, that should be good. So yeah, let me push these in and I'll show you what it looks like. But that's where it is now. It's not really, these will push out farther as the pads wear down more. Her pads, I mean, they're still really good as far as the amount of pad left. But like I said, they're shitty pads and they were squealing really bad. I mean, even the relief, this one's okay. This one's all clogged. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, let me push these in and I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so I just used the C-clamp and pushed the pistons both all the way back in. See, they're in now. Don't go crazy with it. I mean, they, you know, just enough. It'll bottom out and you don't have to crank it on home, you know, just push it in a little bit. So yeah, so now, I mean, kind of just do everything in reverse. The caliper should, now that it's pushed all the way in, slide right over the pads. Okay, so I'm gonna take it off this hook real quick. I just don't want to drop it with one hand and mess up the brake line. Just don't feel like dealing with that today too. I mean, I should say also, I'm sure you know, somebody might have an issue with how I'm doing this. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but I'm not a mechanic. I mean, I'm a carpenter by trade, but you know, man of the house, get it done. So all right, yeah, let me take this off and get it back on. All right, and there you go, it's all back together. I mean, I haven't torqued anything down yet, but caliper back on. So just put your the two 14 mil bolts back in. This one here, this one here. They might be a little bit of a pain in the ass to line up, but you know, just line them up. I'm actually not going to bleed the brakes. If you did, so your bleeder valve here, 10 mil, like I said, usually, well, it should have a little rubber boot. Pop that off. A couple different ways you can bleed it. If you're by yourself, I mean, there's so many different videos on YouTube you can look up, but like I said, I have this little hand pump one. I've seen if you just get a bucket, you know, or a jar and fill brake fluid in it, and then run a hose that is tight on the bleeder valve, push it on, have the hose go down into, like I said, a jar of brake fluid. Just make sure it's submerged, and break the bleeder valve. Go in the car, just press on what am I saying? Press the brake pedal, and fluid will it'll pump out, you know, and it'll fill in the tube. And when the air from the tube is all gone, you know, air can't go back up the tube as long as it's submerged in fluid. So then after you go in, pump the brake pedal, come back out, tighten it up, you know, back and forth, back and forth. The easiest way, honestly, is if you just have two people, and one person out here probably be you, and just have your 10 mil wrench, you know, put your wrench on, have somebody in the car, pump the brake pedal up, you know, 10 times, hold the brake pedal down. You're going to loosen the bleeder valve. It's still nice I like to have a hose on it so you can see any air bubbles that come out. So have them hold the pedal down, you break the nut, and while they continue to have the pedal pressed down, then you'll tighten it back up, have them pump the pedal again 5-10 times, hold it, and just keep doing it back and forth, where they hold the pedal, well, pump it up, hold the pedal, you break it loose, watch, see if any air bubbles come out, and then tighten it back up, have them pump it up, and do that a few times. And honestly, if you don't break the system open, you shouldn't have to do this, but you know, sometimes you have to change the actual caliper itself, then you know, obviously you would have to bleed the brakes. While you're doing this, keep checking your master cylinder, make sure you have brake fluid filled the whole time. You really don't want that to get empty and then you're just sucking air in, then it's in the whole system. You got to bleed every corner, and yeah, so don't do that. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So I'm just gonna torque these back down, put the wheel on, and it's the exact same thing on the other side. So, all right, thanks for watching. All right, so I'm done the other side, wheels back on. You can kind of tell you have shitty pads also if you got a lot of brake dust. You won't have as much, really hardly any brake dust with you know, good factory pads. So the last thing you want to do is just check your master cylinder here. Make sure it's full. Use only, you know, follow the cap. .3 brake fluid. This is just, you know, whatever. I mean, pretty sure most just basic brake fluid is .3 anyway. Since I didn't break the system open though, I didn't bleed any out. We're still at max. So, but yeah, that's it. So if you do bleed the brakes, like I said, make sure that stays full the whole time you're doing it. You don't want to suck air down through there. But other than that, that's how you change your front brake pads on a 2011 model Subaru Forester. All right, thanks.